The icy heart of the planet beats beneath your feet. You stand on a continent the size of the US and Mexico combined. Beneath you, under 4 kilometers of ice, lies the world's largest safe. It contains everything: oil, gas, coal, uranium, gold, platinum, and fresh water, 90% of the world's supply. Imagine, enough to sustain the entire planet for hundreds of years. Here's the kicker: you can't touch it. No one can, ever. Drilling is forbidden. Extraction is forbidden. Even simply planting a flag and claiming it as your own is forbidden. It's like finding a treasure chest, knowing what's inside but being told, "Look, but don't touch." Why? Who decided this? To understand this absurdity, let's rewind to 1959, the height of the Cold War. The world was on the brink. The US and USSR were ready to incinerate each other. Spies, nuclear missiles, the Berlin Wall on the horizon. Every patch of land was a battlefield. Every country a chess piece. And at this very moment, at the peak of paranoia and distrust, 12 nations, including sworn enemies, gathered and signed a document, the Antarctic Treaty. Its essence is simple: this continent belongs to no one, and always will. Only science. No military bases. No territorial claims. Doesn't that strike you as odd? When the entire world was being carved up, the most coveted peace was suddenly declared a sanctuary. Why? The official version, a commitment to peace and science, a beautiful tale for history books. But we're not here for fairy tales. We're here to hack the system, to understand the real rules of the game. By the end of this, you'll know the truth. You'll understand what's really hidden under 4 kilometers of ice. You'll discover why this continent is guarded as if it holds the planet's control panel. And most importantly, you'll comprehend the battle that will erupt over it in 2048, and why the clock is already ticking. Buckle up. We're diving under the ice. So, Washington, 1959. Imagine a room. In it sit people whose countries had just nearly scorched the planet. A Soviet diplomat looks at an American, the American at a Brit. The air smells of cigars and mutual hatred. Outside, their bosses are building bunkers and aiming nuclear missiles at each other. Yet these individuals are discussing rules of conduct on an icy desert 10,000 kilometers away. They agree to make it a zone of peace, completely demilitarized. Doesn't that make you laugh? It's as if 2 mafia clans, in the middle of a shootout, suddenly decided to declare a city park neutral territory. Why? The answer lies within the treaty itself. If you peel back its legal layers, you'll find 3 simple pillars, 3 cornerstones supporting this entire icy world. First, no weapons. Antarctica is an arms-free zone. Period. No military bases, no maneuvers, no testing. Second, a freeze. All territorial claims made before 1959 are put on hold. Does Argentina consider a peace its own? Okay. Britain? Please. But no one can stake new claims. It's like hitting the pause button in a territorial game. And the third, most crucial pillar, science. The continent is given over to scientists. Complete freedom of research for any nation. And this is where the system glitches. Official history presents this as a triumph of diplomacy. But think about it. This was the first arms control treaty in history, signed at the height of the Cold War. The very first. Before space treaties, before nuclear test bans, the USSR and USA, who couldn't even agree on the color of curtains at the UN, suddenly, easily, and quickly hand over an entire continent to science. This is so illogical, it smacks of a deal. A conspiracy. As if their intelligence agencies found something there. Something so important, or so terrifying, that enemies had to quickly come to an agreement. An agreement not about peace, but about silence. About hiding it from all of us. Thus, Antarctica became the largest and most guarded laboratory on the planet. Under the guise of science, all the world's powers converged here. They built stations, outposts, ostensibly to study penguins and glaciers. But what if these stations aren't just scientific bases? What if they're observation posts, built around something hidden beneath the ice? Let's peek inside. Let's see what these folks in polar jackets are really doing on a continent where, officially, nothing is happening. Imagine you're at Vostok Station, the most isolated and coldest place on the planet. Outside, it's minus 89 degrees Celsius, a record. Your skin cracks from dryness. The air is so thin that breathing is as difficult as on the summit of Everest. 6 months a year, it's an endless black night. You see no sun, only stars that seem angry and alien. You're confined in a metal container with a handful of others, week after week, month after month. Psychosis hangs in the air. These are ideal conditions, perfect for hiding any operation. No one will ask too many questions, because merely surviving here is an achievement. Now, zoom out and look at the entire continent. It's bristling with needles, like a hedgehog. More than 70 stations from 30 countries. Do you think they're all studying penguins? Don't make me laugh. Each station is a disguised embassy. It's a military outpost without weapons. It's a point of presence, staking a claim. It's like the children's game of musical chairs, whoever gets a seat first. When the moratorium on resource extraction might end in 2048, these dots on the map will become arguments. This is a quiet, icy colonization happening right now as you watch this video. They're not fighting, they're waiting. Among these nests of spies, there's one particularly interesting one, the German Neumayer Third Station, a technological marvel on hydraulic stilts. Officially, they study the climate, but their sensitive instruments constantly detect anomalies, objects in the sky moving at impossible speeds and changing trajectory at right angles. Reports attribute them to atmospheric phenomena. Now for the main trick, look at a map from the 1930s. the station stands exactly on the territory that a Third Reich expedition called New Swabia. They were searching for an entrance to a hollow earth there. A myth? Perhaps. But why did their descendants build their most expensive outpost precisely here? But all of this, the UFOs and Nazi secrets, is just a distraction, a brilliant staging, because the main prize isn't hidden in the heavens or in old archives, it's underfoot. The primary task of all these stations is one, to drill. They bore through the ice, day and night, year after year. They gnaw into the planet's 4-kilometer thick shell. And a few years ago, they broke through. They pierced the ice shield. And what they found at the bottom silenced even the biggest skeptics. They didn't just find rock and dirt. They found a lost world. This is Lake Vostok, the largest of the subglacial lakes. Imagine Soviet scientists drilling through ice for 20 years. 20 years. Slowly, meter by meter, they delve into history. And the closer they get to their goal, the more terrifying it becomes. They fear two things. First, introducing our terrestrial bacteria into this sterile world and killing it before even understanding what was there. The second, even worse, unleashing an ancient virus for which we have no immunity. The planet's lungs might not withstand such a cough. That's why they traverse the last meters with surgical precision, like sappers. And then, the breakthrough. How is this even possible? How can liquid water exist under 4 kilometers of freezer? It's simple. Two factors are at play. First, pressure. Imagine a column of ice as tall as 10 Eiffel Towers pressing down on you. This monstrous mass compresses the lower layers of ice and lowers their freezing temperature. The second factor, heat. From below, from the planet's core, comes a faint but constant geothermal heat. And the ice acts as a perfect thermos lid, preventing this heat from escaping. Pressure plus heat equals liquid water, an entire ocean hidden from the world. But it's not just water. It's a time capsule. This world was sealed off when saber-toothed tigers still roamed the earth. It hasn't seen sunlight. It hasn't breathed our air. It has been completely isolated from the rest of the biosphere for 15 million years. 15 million years. Think about that. Any life forms there evolved according to their own rules. This is literally extraterrestrial life that originated on Earth. And they found it. Bacteria that get energy not from the sun, but from rocks. Organisms that breathe iron. Evolution took a completely different path. And this is where it gets really interesting. Vostok isn't the only such lake. Over 400 have now been discovered. An entire archipelago of lost worlds beneath the ice sheet. Antarctica turned out not to be a dead desert, but a giant incubator of hidden life. But if the lakes are oases in another part of the continent, satellites noticed something else. A giant gravitational anomaly, as if something enormous and very dense lies beneath the ice, distorting the Earth's gravitational field. A scar on the continent's body, 240 kilometers long. In 2006, two NASA twin satellites, GRACE, flew in tandem in orbit. Their mission wasn't to take pictures, but to weigh the planet from space, measuring gravity. And as they passed over Antarctica, specifically over a place called Wilkes Land, their instruments went haywire. Something massive, incredibly heavy, lay beneath 3 kilometers of ice. Scientists use the dry term MASCON, mass concentration. But for you and me, it's simply confirmation. There's something else beneath the planet's skin. How does it work? Imagine you're pulling a friend on rollerblades with a rope. You're moving at the same speed. But suddenly, the asphalt beneath your friend becomes perfectly smooth. He shoots ahead. The distance between you changes. Satellites do the same thing. When the first one flies over something super dense, gravity pulls it a little harder. It accelerates. The distance between the twin satellites changes by microns. The computer registers this jerk. That's how they map gravity. And in this particular spot, the map isn't just red. It's dark burgundy. It's screaming. Scientists ran all the models and arrived at a chilling conclusion. It's an impact crater. The trace of a giant asteroid impact. The one that killed the dinosaurs? No. 20 times larger. 20. This wasn't just the asteroid that wiped lizards from the face of the Earth. This is possibly the trace of a weapon that caused the Great Extinction 250 million years ago, when 96% of all marine species and 70% of land species simply vanished, evaporated, as if someone hit the delete button for the entire planet. Now think about it. When something so immense that it altered the history of life on Earth lies beneath your feet, something that still distorts the planet's gravitational field, do you really think everyone is only interested in ancient asteroids? Such anomalies are a magnet for the wildest theories and for the most secret operations. Because if something fell from space there, who's to say it was just a rock? What if it was a ship? Or something built from its wreckage, even before the first human ever appeared on this planet? A ship? An ancient civilization? These are all hypotheses. But there's one story, backed by documents, about those who sought something similar there before us. Rewind again. 1938. The German ship Schwabenland bites into the Antarctic ice. Officially, a scientific expedition. On board, Luftwaffe planes. 2 seaplanes launch from a catapult. They fly over the lifeless icy desert and drop pennants, metal darts with the Third Reich flag. Thousands of them. They literally drive their flag into the continent, marking territory. A huge piece, the size of Germany itself. They call it New Swabia. The only question is why? The official version: to stake out whaling grounds for blubber. Seriously? The world's third-largest economy sending military planes for whale oil? The real goal, according to many researchers, lay deeper, literally, under the ice. Thus was born the legend of Base 211, a secret refuge, the last bastion of the Reich, carved into the rocks beneath kilometers of ice. The idea was simple. If the war was lost, the entire elite and the most advanced technologies, including their famous flying saucers, would be evacuated here, to a place where no one would ever find them. They would wait for their time to return. Sounds like a cheap movie script? Perhaps. Until you look at what happened immediately after the war. 1946. The Nazis are defeated. The world celebrates victory. And suddenly, the US sends the most powerful naval squadron since World War II to Antarctica, Operation Highjump. Remember the official purpose: scientific research and personnel training in extreme conditions. Now look at the composition: an aircraft carrier, 13 warships, 4,700 soldiers and Marines. Doesn't that seem like monstrous overkill for studying penguins? They head straight for New Swabia. And this is where it gets strange. The mission, planned for 6 to 8 months, is cut short after 2. In a panic, they flee. They lose men and planes. Admiral Byrd, its leader, upon his return, makes cryptic statements to journalists about flying objects capable of moving from pole to pole at incredible speed. What did they encounter there? The remnants of a German base that fought back? Or something else? Something the Germans themselves only found but failed to control? All of this would have remained in classified folders, at the level of rumors and conspiracy theories, if not for one thing. Today, we no longer need to send aircraft carriers to peer under the ice. Today, we have technology that sees through the ice sheet as if through glass. And what it reveals forces a fresh look at all these old, crazy legends. Imagine. You're flying in a small plane over a white infinity. Below you, nothing but ice. On board, a scientist isn't looking out the window, but at a screen. A black screen. A green line flashes across it. It's a pulse. It penetrates 4 kilometers of ice like an X-ray and returns. And with each pulse, line by line, the screen reveals what no human has seen for the last 15 million years. From the darkness emerges a ghost continent, mountains, valleys, canyons. How does it work? It's elementary. It's a sonar for the planet. The plane sends a radio wave downwards. It passes through the ice like light through glass, but bounces off the solid rock at the bottom. The computer measures the time it takes for the signal to return and calculates the depth. Now imagine the plane flying over the continent for years, back and forth, like a printer printing a page. Each such strip is a single slice. Combine hundreds of thousands of slices, and you get a complete 3-dimensional map. You're opening an icy sarcophagus. And when they opened it, they were stunned. Beneath the center of Antarctica, where the ice is thickest, they found a mountain range. Peaks 3,000 meters high, taller than the Alps. They named them the Gamburtsev Mountains, an entire mountain country sealed in ice. Nearby were canyons that made the Grand Canyon look like a mere scratch on the earth. This isn't just an ice cap. It's a full-fledged continent with its own terrain, its own geology. It's simply dormant. And here we come to the most dangerous part. These maps aren't just pictures for textbooks. They are road maps for drilling rigs. Where there are mountains, there are faults. Where there are valleys, there could have been ancient rivers. And these are ideal traps. Traps for oil, for gas, for uranium. Now all the players know where the treasures lie. They are no longer fumbling in the dark. They are simply waiting for the clock to strike 2048. And this technology has transformed Antarctica from a white spot into a drawn-out battlefield of the future. Right now, as we speak, in the glass skyscrapers of London, Houston, and Beijing, people in expensive suits are sitting. They are not scientists. They are lawyers, lobbyists, corporate analysts whose names you see at every gas station. They are not looking at treasure maps. They are writing them. They are preparing legal loopholes, lawsuits, documents that in 2048 will turn into drilling licenses. The quiet paper war is already underway, and the one who is best prepared will win it. What is this date, 2048? It's not just a number on a calendar, it's a timer on a bomb. In 1991, countries signed the Madrid Protocol. Essentially, it's an amendment to the old treaty. They agreed 50 years of no drilling whatsoever, no extraction. The continent would be a scientific preserve. But in this protocol, there's Article 25, a small line that no one reads. It says, after 2048, any country can call a conference and demand a review. This is not a perpetual ban. It's a postponement, a truce, and it's ending. And while lawyers sharpen their quills, scientists are already working for them unknowingly. Remember all those scientific missions? Climate studies, seismic activity, ice core sampling. It's a perfect cover. Every time a geophysicist scans the ice with radar to study the subglacial terrain, he is, in essence, conducting geological exploration. He is looking for those very oil and gas traps. This data goes into secret reports, not for scientific journals, but for those very guys in suits. The race is already on right now, just disguised in a lab coat. And now the whole picture comes together like a puzzle. Do you understand? Look, you have a political curtain, a treaty that seemingly forbids everything, but in reality, just puts the game on pause. Beneath this curtain, scientific reconnaissance is mapping out the future resource war. And beneath all of this, as a foundation, lie ancient mysteries, anomalies, legends. Things that make this continent not just a resource depot, but something more. These are 3 layers of one game, and whoever understands how they are connected will get the key, not just to Antarctica, but possibly to the entire future. So that's how it's all connected. The treaty isn't a shield. It's the starting gun for a marathon run in complete silence. The scientific stations aren't laboratories. They're eyes and ears watching a treasure map, waiting for the command to dig. And all these anomalies, ships, and ancient craters aren't just mysteries. They're an excuse. A perfect reason to keep everyone else away while you try to crack the safe yourself. It's a system, brilliant in its simplicity. A fragile peace treaty, held together by fear and greed. And it works, for now. Now forget all of that. Forget the corporations, the lawyers, the generals. Go back for a second to Vostok Station, to that very scientist. He pulls an ice core from the borehole, a long white cylinder. In his hands is not just frozen water, but a book. A chronicle of the planet, written in snow and time. He looks at it, and he sees the past. Here's a dark strip, ash from a volcano that erupted 10,000 years ago. And in these tiny bubbles is sealed the air that mammoths breathed. This is a real greeting from the past and a warning about the future. The planet shows him how fragile its world is, how easily everything can be broken. And that's when you realize Antarctica's greatest secret isn't under 4 kilometers of ice. It's right before your eyes. It's within us. This continent is a perfect mirror. It reflects the best of what we are capable of. Sworn enemies who manage to agree on peace, people willing to die from cold and loneliness for a single tiny new piece of knowledge. Our yearning for the stars, for the unknown. But in this same mirror, our darkest side is also reflected. Our endless greed, our desire to gnaw into the last pristine continent, to suck every last drop from it. Antarctica is our final exam. The clock is ticking. 2048 is approaching. And when that day comes, when anyone can demand a review of the rules, what will prevail in this icy arena? What will prove stronger in humanity? The thirst for discovery or the thirst for resources? Answer in the comments. Just one word. Science or war?